Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of Mark Fixes Stuff. Now today we're doing something a little bit different. As you can see, we're setting up the cabin. We've been using an A1 Mini which was kindly sent across from Bambu Lab a while ago now, and it's been frankly fantastic. But we need something slightly bigger, so we're going to upgrade to this Bambu Lab's A1 Combo, which is the A1 printer and the AMS, the automatic media system. I think it's system.
I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know because I thought, because obviously you hear it's very much touted that these are really easy to set up, I thought we'd get Zach to put it together.
Yay!
No, genuinely though, have you ever done any 3D printing?
No, I couldn't even think of where to start with 3D printing.
Oh, right. Okay.
I was thinking about cool things to print. That's the extent. I've thought about it.
I think this might be a longer day than I first anticipated.
It'll be fine.
Well, what can possibly go wrong? So I think what we'll do, we'll just see how you get on.
Great, thanks. Here we go.
Let's go. Mark Fixes Stuff. So I set Zach to work, going in blind, or as the kids these days say, raw dogging it. He's quite excited because he's not usually allowed pointy or sharp objects. Opening the flaps, the look of wonder on his face is quite something to behold.
It looks a bit big.
And he was right, he had a massive thing in his hands. He was so eager he just started tugging away at the package.
It's not exactly the lightest thing to pick up with your back.
Well, pick it up with your front then.
My initial thought was, there's absolutely no way this is all going to fit inside of this box. I don't even think the A1 Mini would fit in there, and I've actually seen that.
I told Zach that this was called a plate, but he said it couldn't be because his peas would roll off. Do you see what I'm working with here? He's also really messy. I haven't told him what any of this stuff is.
This bit was really frustrating. No matter how hard I tugged, I just couldn't get it off.
I'll do those jokes, thanks.
I pulled several of these things out of the little holes, and even now, I don't know what they're called.
They're called rotary spool holders. I bet you're really glad you asked now. I suppose it'd be unkind to point out that this is all written in the manual.
I thought, for the time being, let's put them to the side and see what else I'm working with.
Fair enough.
Of all the things I pulled out of the top, this was by far the most interesting.
What's in it?
Tiny unidentified objects. And you can't forget the railgun for railing.
I'm going to get complaints about that.
I learnt a new word here.
What word?
Swatches.
Well, I'm so glad that some of the stuff I've told you has actually stuck.
I've already forgotten what it means.
Absolutely typical. And what's this one? Come on, you know it.
Power cable. Haha.
One fake internet point.
And a tiny thing.
Something you'd recognise then.
And a stuck thing.
It's not a spaceship, Zach.
If only the Rebel Alliance saw the way I was manhandling that X-Wing fighter.
That's actually a really handy part of the printer that loads and unloads the filaments for you. It's called the AMS Lite.
I'm just going to call it a thing.
Fine. Stop chucking things on the floor.
Throughout the majority of this project, this one wire would always get in my way. I had half a mind to just chop it off and be done with it.
I've got 2 kids and I've thought the same.
Halfway through unboxing, these are our things so far.
Everything's a blooming thing to you. It's actually all stuff.
I leaned so heavily on this instruction book, I nicknamed it Bill Withers.
Obscure reference.
My suspicions were true. There was no way I could eat my peas off of this.
Oh, give it a rest.
Unless they had a nickel back, then they wouldn't roll so far away.
Okay, we get it. You like obscure music references and puns.
I had quickly come to realise that there were actually no Allen keys in this box.
Well, except for these Allen keys right here.
Or screws.
Also here.
Well, that's mildly embarrassing, isn't it?
Only mildly.
I had to figure out the best way to unscrew the back.
Looking at the manual, Zach realised he had to remove 4 screws to unlock the heat bed. This is to keep it safe in transit.
And here's me making sure the hole is completely empty.
Listen, can you pack that in, because I'll get blamed for that.
Mashing up the decks.
And generating electricity and frying the electronics. Watching this part was equally painful and amusing, so I just let him do it.
I didn't realise until later that I had to go in through the back.
That's my line. Joking aside here, one of the problems seems to be that Zach is slightly allergic to the instruction manual. Something I suffer from myself, although I'm old enough to have learned from my stupid mistakes already.
Just take a look at that fitment. Isn't that totally fit?
Whatever floats your boat, young man.
The entire time I was struggling with these things, clippers, nail clippers, wire cutter clippers, zip tie clipper dippers. Yeah, I struggled, they were very dull.
Side cutters, and the word is blunt.
Snip.
Those aren't actually the side cutters that I gave you for this job either.
Like I said, dull.
You're dull.
I'm genuinely curious as to why there were so many zip ties. It's not like the printer's going to run away.
Well, there's a clear insight into what you use zip ties for in your free time.
The amount of snipping that was being done, I would have thought I was a doctor delivering a baby boy.
Well, usually there's only one snip involved for a boy or a girl, so again, too much information, mate. Thank you.
Under the cover, this was where the magic happened. There was a lot of screwing to be done. And don't worry, I've got plenty of screws.
And you've clearly watched plenty of my videos.
Unfortunately, the tool I was using was too small, and I had to upgrade to a large one.
If only you could do that in real life, eh, Zach? These screws are fixing the base unit to the gantry plate. That's the metal plate that you slid it over earlier. There was quite a lot of screwing here, so I edited some out.
I was quite concerned I'd run out of stamina.
At your age? Tragic.
Turns out, screwing needed to be done both sides of the platform.
Both sides, you say? We always knew. It's actually important to get all of these screws in the right position. Without them being installed, then the printer will just fall apart when you move it. The purpose of this experiment is to see if Zach can put this printer together, and he's doing quite well.
Easy does it.
Well, that might be overstating it slightly.
After putting the top back on, it was time to look underneath.
You're going to say at the bottom, aren't you?
At the bottom.
Called it.
Now that's what I call a good feature. Everything was colour coded specifically for idiots like me.
Oh, you're not an idiot. Idiots are functional.
Looking back now, I can see how blindingly obvious it was, the mistake I made. It was right under my nose.
I just felt it would be unfair to step in and recorrect all your errors, because how will you learn? Also, I was looking for cheap deals online, so there you go. I let him struggle with this for quite a while, and then at some point I thought I'd better step in. After all, we don't want any tears on the workshop floor, so I told him I'd stop the camera.
Ta-da! It fits in there, that was all me. Right, let's try that again. The green goes in the green, the white goes in the white, and the yellow goes in the yellow. Hooray! It's finally done.
Is it though?
The wires, I mean, not the rest of the printer.
Crack on then. The next thing that Zach needed to install was the purge wiper. This catches and cleans off any extruded waste filament.
I'm pretty sure I've done enough screwing here to last a lifetime.
This might not be the hobby for you then, Zach.
I believe Mark once called this the poop catcher.
No, that's something else. This is the purge wiper. We're going to print a poop catcher at the end of the build.
Words cannot describe my disappointment after finding out this wasn't a railgun.
You look genuinely upset.
I don't want to talk about it.
I'm waiting to see if he realises that the yellow and green spool holders are colour keyed to the spindles.
Snip. What colour does the green one go in? That's correct. It goes on the table and you put the yellow one on the yellow stick.
Yellow stick.
It was a tight squeeze, but I managed to stick it on. This was a particularly helpful feature. All of the spool holders were keyed so they could only fit on the correct spindle.
Yes, that's right. There's yellow and green on either side, and the yellow will only fit a yellow, and green likewise. And there's a reason you always need to read the manual. If you'd RTFM'd, you wouldn't have skipped a vital step. We spent the next 5 minutes with Zach arguing that this was not in the manual.
Yep, the book was right. I just missed it.
And I never could have seen that outcome. Don't build angry.
Not only that, but I mounted the wrong way round.
Yeah, I didn't really want to say after the last 5 minutes of discussion, but that looks better, doesn't it? Nice and calm solves the problem.
Right, let's give that one another go. I've screwed it in. Hopefully it doesn't fall off. Definitely not. But just in case, I thought I'd take extra care when moving it.
Yeah, I just told Zach how much it costs.
This was the tricky part. I had to make sure that all of the cables were neatly organised and not a mess.
You see, I know that there's 2 long and 2 short cables, but I didn't see him look at the manual.
Probably the most helpful feature was the fact that 2 of the tubes were longer than the other 2. This means that they would go in the ones that are further away. So I genuinely couldn't get it wrong.
Hang on, that's not what I'm seeing on the screen right now.
Surely I won't mess it up again, right?
Hang on, this is a bit revisionist, I was there.
Bear with me here, approach with an open mind. I'm only struggling because I'm not used to having small objects in my hands.
That one's too easy. Just a note, at this point I was sat back and shaking my head in despair.
Like I said, nice and tidy.
Really? Right here in front of my OCD?
I thought it'd be best to be extra careful with this part, considering I've already dropped it once. If it happened again, it's likely to break. They always say to follow your heart and you'll always be right. Considering my heart's on the left side of my body, I chose the hole on the left. That's what that means, right?
From confused to Confucius.
There was only one hole for this one to fit into, so it was fairly straightforward.
And thank goodness, because that's the AC power. And he's about to realise that's a really short cable.
I couldn't reach. Mark was watching, I felt under pressure, and there was just a lot going on, okay?
No pressure.
I know that one plug was for the TV, and the other plug was for something I wasn't quite sure of, so I did as every adult would do and played eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Mon Dieu.
And nothing exploded. I'll take that as a win.
What a scientific approach. I look forward to your thesis paper.
And now that it's finally long enough, I can actually put it in.
This town ain't big enough for about the bus. But there were no sparks when he turned it on, which was a good sign.
I clicked English here. I don't know what gave it away, but I'm not Spanish. I live in Europe, probably.
Probably.
And the Wi-Fi didn't have it yet, so I clicked skip. I had no idea what the vibration compensation was, so I just clicked OK and hoped for the best.
Vibration compensation adjusts the printer for the shaky table we've put it on, but not for the shonky cable management.
Another golden example of my brilliant wiring skills.
Next it does a bed leveling check.
It's checking to see where the edge of the plate is.
No, the surface.
It's probably trying to look for my P's.
Stop with the stupid peas joke. You're taking the peas.
Even now, I have no idea what monolithic nice constipation means, but I thought I'd just let it do its thing and stay out of the way.
I wish I'd stayed out of the way. Motor noise cancellation is meant to reduce noise. By running the test, which takes around 15 minutes, it should be able to reduce vibration in the printer, which should then improve external wall quality. This makes me think that although this is a good place to build this printer, this shaky table probably isn't the best home for it long term. And this test is really noisy.
There was a wide variety of noises coming from the machine.
Were you scared?
Frankly, I was scared for my safety.
Zach asked me to check his work, so I was making mental notes of what I needed to fix later.
Do you think Mark likes my neat cabling? I know it might be childish, but this was my favourite part.
Everybody loves a satisfying peel.
For the first print, I thought I'd go with a very inconspicuous colour that will blend in with anything. Bright red.
Bambu Lab's matte red is really nice actually.
Mark said if you stick the end of the filament through the hole, it won't bend when you walk around the table after getting it wrong.
That was just gibberish.
In all honesty, I had no idea what I expected, but that was pretty darn cool.
Before we kick off the first print, we need to add some lubrication.
Here we go.
Is it done?
Lubricated.
Great.
And a little bit more, for good measure.
The rails use oil, whilst the worm screws use grease.
I thought I'd give it a little wiggle to rub the rest of the lovely lubricant into the frame thing.
It's a rail.
Mark had told me that the traditional 3D print was a benchy to test to see if it was working, but I went for an elephant because, as everybody knows, they're bright red.
What has happened to our educational system?
They're red, right?
Like an idiot, I said he could print whatever he wanted, as he'd put the printer together.
Right, here we go. The magic is happening. And it's pooing?
Pooping.
I don't think they're printing an elephant. Huh. Never mind, it looks like it's starting to come together. I'm not entirely sure what I expected, but it wasn't that. The inside looks like a honeycomb mesh.
That's actually called infill.
There's no way you can convince me. That's definitely an alligator.
Again, I weep for education.
Yep, that's definitely an elephant. Never mind. I was so afraid I'd end up breaking this model and having to wait 5.5 hours for it to reprint, but it didn't break. I wasn't entirely sure whether this was a tail or something else, but I went for the safe option and attached the member anyway.
A tail isn't a member, it's an appendage. Although a member is also an appendage. God, now I'm confused.
Now that's what I call an inconspicuous elephant.
And not an alligator.
It looks to me like the overnight wait was worth it. This came out brilliant. Although I could do with pushing his tail in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, that's not quite there yet, is it? Right, back to your usual tasks, please, Zach.
I wandered round the cabin, having a look for more filament rolls. I found black, blue and white, thinking I ought to put them all on just to see if I can.
Well, practice makes perfect. And I'm glad you've loaded up the AMS Lite because there's some other printing that I need to do. First up, we need to print a poop bin. This particular model by Mikhail will print quickly. It will catch all of the purged waste from the print head and save it from going over the floor. I chose a version of the model that had been optimised for faster printing, and it did print fast, but it did come out with a few flaws. That's fine for this application, but I probably wouldn't pick this version of the model again. The parameters inside the FreeMF file were just too fast for the machine, and this is a fast machine. At some point I'll introduce Zach to the joys of designing and printing his own models. But not today. Well, not in this video anyway. Well done, Zach. I'm sure everybody viewing will agree with me that you did a great job there. There were a couple of little stumbling blocks, so you didn't put the longer Teflon tube into the further away AMS slots.
Oh.
You didn't clip up the cable, but I did sneak in and do that. I didn't want to sweep your legs away from under you, and you're doing such a great job. What do you think of the printer? Bearing in mind this is your first ever experience of putting anything like this together.
The printer itself is actually really cool. Obviously, when it's operating and it made that elephant over there, I was surprised at how much detail it went into it. I didn't realise it was all sort of made up of tiny triangles and stuff on the inside. That was surprising, but it was good fun. And now I'm just thinking about what else I can print. I'm thinking Star Wars battle droids and all sorts like that. That'd be awesome. I can't wait for that. So, can I keep this?
No.
No. Okay.
So obviously there's some bits for you to still learn how to send print jobs on the computer properly.
How to design them.
How to design them.
That'd be cool.
Use some Tinkercad and Fusion 360.
Yeah, I know what that
Maybe
means.
take our lovely viewers along with us for the ride. But other than that, well done. Big thanks to Bambu Labs for sending this over, also the filament and all that sort of stuff. And a big thanks to my amazing patrons appearing on the screen right now. Patrons get ad-free early access to all my videos. They also get the mystical ability to project a holographic image of their disappointed mother at will. That might be a lie.
It looks a bit big. It's unintentional!
That's what I've been telling people for years. It's unintentional.